The familiar trope of an angel and a devil sitting on someone's shoulders, guiding them toward good or evil, is deeply ingrained in popular culture. But where did this idea come from? The concept of competing influences on the mind can be traced all the way back to ancient Greece, and the belief that people have divided souls. In Plato's Phaedrus, he provides a vivid metaphor of the human soul as a charioteer, driven by two winged horses. One of noble breed, represented by a white horse, and one of common breed, represented by a dark horse. The two horses pull in different directions, the noble horse towards the divine, and the common horse towards the worldly, giving trouble for the rider. The traditional interpretation is that the rider represents reason, trying to steer between spiritedness, represented by the white horse, and passion, represented by the dark horse. This idea of a divided soul had a significant influence on early Christian thinkers, like Augustine. But when did these abstract concepts become associated with the imagery of angels and devils? It would seem that the philosophy of the divided soul became intertwined with beliefs about personal angels. The earliest reference to personal angels appears in the early Christian text, The Shepherd of Hermas, from around 150 CE. The passage reads, "There are two angels with a man, one of righteousness and the other of iniquity." It goes on to describe how when a person feels anger or temptation, the angel of iniquity has taken hold. When they feel virtuous, the angel of righteousness is at work. The Shepherd of Hermas was a popular work and influenced early Christian leaders like Origen of Alexandria, who also wrote about these dual angels in the 3rd century CE. Fast forward to the late Middle Ages and early Renaissance period, we see this idea again. One work credited with popularising personal angels is Christopher Marlowe's play Dr. Faustus, written in around 1589. In the play, Dr. Faustus is interested in magic and necromancy. Two angels called the good angel and the bad angel appear to Faustus and dispense their own perspectives of his interest in magic. Faustus is ultimately won over by the bad angel. We also have some early visual representations of people torn between angels and devils from this period. A 15th century French work shows a priest surrounded by little devils trying to influence him, while a small angel holds his head guiding him. Another image from a copy of Augustine's City of God depicts a man sitting in a tree being persuaded by an angel and a devil. But when did we start to get the classic shoulder angels that we know today? This is harder to pin down exactly. One theory is that this idea stems from Arabic folklore. The Quran, dating to the 7th century CE, describes two angels standing on either side of a person, recording their deeds. This idea was also found in early Christian writings like the Testament of Abraham. These were just regular angels, but at some later point it appears that folk interpretations of this idea led to a belief that the angels were on a person's shoulder. Magazine snippets from the mid-1800s credit Persian or Turkish folklore with this adage. But even here, the language is ambiguous. It's not clear that these were supposed to be miniature angels standing on someone's shoulder. The earliest artworks I have found that contain the singular miniature angel and devil trope come from the 17th century. And the broader idea of being torn between an angel and a devil persisted in art through the 18th to the 20th centuries. Mark Twain even used the idea in The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. In his 1937 book, The Backwards Child, English psychologist Bert Cyril recounted a well-known folktale about throwing salt over your left shoulder to ward off bad luck. This proverb goes back to the 1600s, but never mentions the devil, just bad luck. But Cyril suggested that the salt wards off the devil who is standing at the left shoulder, while a guardian angel stands at the right shoulder. This had become a folk belief by this time. The emergence of motion pictures and animation gave artists new ways to portray a person's inner struggle, the divided soul. The first known appearance of the miniature angel and devil trope we are so familiar with occurs in the 1916 animated short Bobby Bumps at the Circus. Animation companies like Disney and Warner Brothers would also make heavy use of this trope starting in the 1930s. It has also been theorized that Sigmund Freud's highly popular 1920 theory of the divided psyche helped popularize these portrayals. He argued that a person's psyche was made up of the ego, which rationalized between desire, id, and morality, superego. Whether Freud had anything to do with it is debated, but the shoulder angel and devil was an easy way to visually display an inner struggle using folk metaphors of angels and devils that people were familiar with. The trope would continue to be popularized in countless shows and movies, like The Simpsons and The Emperor's New Groove. So the next time you see that familiar trope of a tiny angel and devil standing on someone's shoulders, you'll know that it has a long history dating back to ancient times, from Plato's charioteer to The Simpsons. If you like this video, consider supporting the channel on Patreon or becoming a YouTube channel member. My name's Lachlan, you've been watching Tablets and Temples, where we explore interesting topics in ancient history and religion, and I will see you in the next one.